What's up, Bears fans? Harrison Graham here. We got a bit of a news bomb here late on a Sunday night, and it's not one that you're looking forward to. Teven Jenkins, according to Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune, and he's the only reporter as of now that I've seen reported this, but Biggs is pretty tapped in, says that Teven Jenkins could miss up to 6 weeks with a leg injury that he suffered at some point either in that second joint practice or shortly after, because he did practice during those joint practices. So I don't know if he woke up weird or what, but lots to unpack here. And obviously that number 6 weeks is very, very concerning. Now, before we dive into this is why you subscribe, because we're dropping this news. I'm reacting to it here late on a Sunday night, whether we're at home or in the studio. We're getting you guys caught up on everything. So show some support, subscribe. It's 100% free. Daily Bears videos, usually multiple videos per day here on the channel. So Teven Jenkins could miss up to 6 weeks. Just want to read a snippet of this from Biggs in the Chicago Tribune. He said that the offensive line lineup could require some adjustment in week 1 against the Packers, because multiple sources tell the Tribune that left guard Teven Jenkins could miss some time in the first month of the regular season with a leg injury. Now, Biggs makes this point, and I'll just kind of rehash it here. Matt Eberflus has obviously been very hush-hush with injuries in his first 2 years as the Bears head coach, especially in training camp and in the preseason leading up to the season, where you don't even have to list injuries. Now, Eberflus, his policy is if it's considered serious, he'll let the media know and let the public know. I wonder if this falls into that bucket. Like, if it's truly a 4 to 6 week injury, for example, is that deemed serious? I would say yes, because that means he's almost certainly going to miss at least week 1 of the regular season. Now, Flus isn't set to talk again until after Tuesday's practice, so I don't know if we're going to get more clarification by tomorrow out of Hallis Hall, but you would think that he's going to have to address this in some manner if Biggs is getting multiple sources telling him it could be up to 6 weeks. Now, if that's the case, that's obviously not what you want to hear, especially for Teven Jenkins, a guy who's fought so hard and has gone through a couple of notable injuries early on in his career to really become a solid player when he's out there and healthy. But this is always the concern, right? Like, he seems to be a guy that can't stay healthy. Now, I guess a potential silver lining is, okay, it's not the back, and we know he has back issues, so maybe that's a positive. But what's a 6 week leg injury? Is it a partial meniscus tear? Is it a bad hamstring injury? I don't know. This is going to be one of those interesting ones to get more detail up to this point in time. Obviously, Jenkins did not play against the Colts on Saturday night. Neither did pretty much any starter the other night at Lucas Oil Stadium. But obviously, Jenkins is penciled in to be your starting left guard, so without him, that is a notable loss. Before we talk more about this and explore some potential backup options that are going to need to step up, what's your one-word reaction to this news? Mine is unfortunate. What say you? What is your one-word reaction? It's definitely unfortunate because Teven Jenkins plays with an athleticism and power and energy that you really, really like. I think kicking him inside to guard last year was a really good move by the staff. It allowed him to use his power more effectively. You can get him on the move in this wide zone scheme. He just mauls in the run game, and I think he really found a home at right guard last year. Now, obviously, he was making that transition to left guard with the signing of Nate Davis, who has missed most of training camp, but I think he was starting to really, really get comfortable, and if this is indeed the case that he's set to miss 6 weeks, that's certainly a bit of a setback, right? Like, there's just no way around it. So that's definitely unfortunate. Obviously, he's had some injuries in 2021. He missed 13 games most of that year. Early on through November, basically came back late in the year and played a little bit at tackle. Last year he played in 13 of 17 games but still missed 4, and you're kind of at the point where, like, is 12-13 games like the ceiling you're going to get out of him? Because he's just not a guy that stays consistently healthy. Like, we just haven't seen that up to this point. Now, if it's a 6-week injury, you kind of start to wonder, okay, like, could he be an early season IR guy, right? Now, you can't put him on IR now because any player that goes on IR before roster cutdown day on Tuesday, August 29th is done for the season. So that's obviously not going to happen. But could you bring him through the initial 53-man roster, then put him on IR, which means 3-week absence, 3 to 8 weeks, I believe, but at least 3. But if it's 6 weeks, you're 3 weeks from the regular season, that could be right on par where you bring him back in week 4 against Denver after missing the first 3 games, which is Green Bay at home, Tampa on the road, and at Kansas City. Maybe you bring him back for week 4. Could that be an option? So, you bring him through the initial 53, then you put him on IR, then a roster spot opens up. Maybe one of those roster fringe guys you cut initially and hope you're able to bring them back after that first roster cutdown period day, 24 hours later. I could only speculate on who that could be. Maybe it's like a Doug Kramer or something like that on the offensive line where you cut him initially and then you hope he gets through waivers and you bring him back after you put Jenkins on IR. It's hard to say for sure, but you would obviously, if you do go that route, want it to be someone that you're at least somewhat okay with if he gets picked up by another team. Like, I would not do it for Tyson Bagent, for example. I'm not taking that risk. He's got to be on the 53, I think, because I do think he'd get poached. So you'd have to be careful playing that game if you're Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. Now, as far as who would fill in, assuming he's at least not out there for week 1 against the Packers, to me, I'm turning to Ja'Tyre Carter. I know Lucas Patrick's a veteran and he can play guard and he can play tackle, but he's pretty much just missed all of camp. He missed most of last season. Like, I know he's a vet and someone, Flus and Poles publicly would say they trust, but like, Ja'Tyre Carter's earned it. Now, he's gotten mostly his reps at right guard, so I do wonder this week if he's going to get some reps at left guard. That's where Alex Leatherwood has been as the backup left guard. I don't think it would just be simply, well, Leatherwood's been the backup left guard, so he would start there. If Ja'Tyre Carter's a better option on the interior, then I think he's got to be somebody that you turn to there. I think it would be either Carter or Patrick if Lucas Patrick is healthy by week 1. Again, he's been out. Then Leatherwood's kind of that third option. Like, I think Leatherwood's done some okay things. I think he'll probably make this team, but Ja'Tyre Carter looks like a guy who potentially could start if you needed him to. So I think he's the top guy I would look at in that situation. If you wanted to get crazy, you could put Lucas Patrick at center and kick Whitehair back to left guard, but I'm kind of tired of the shuffling in that regard. Like, you don't want to change 2 people's positions for one guy being hurt. So you gotta be careful there. We can explore some free agent offensive linemen. I do wonder in general if there's a surprise cut out there between now and cut down day, if the Bears will be on the market for an offensive lineman, because I think the depth has performed better than I thought it would during training camp, but it's still a question I have overall. So certainly now with this Tevin Jenkins potential injury missing time into the regular season, that certainly throws a wrench into things. What say you? Who do you guys think should start on the Bears offensive line while Jenkins is out? I would go with Ja'Tyre Carter. I think he's got a interesting profile of athleticism and power, and I think he's shown that throughout the preseason. I thought he played well the other night, certainly played well in the preseason opener, so I would go with Ja'Tyre Carter, but wouldn't shock me if it was Lucas Patrick if he got healthy. I wouldn't be a huge fan of that because I think Carter, honestly, is a better fit at guard. Now, if it was center, that's different. I would lean Lucas Patrick or Doug Kramer because Ja'Tyre Carter doesn't play center, but I think at guard, I think Carter would be the answer in my opinion. So if that were the case, from left to right, I would go Braxton Jones at left tackle, Ja'Tyre Carter at left guard, Cody Whitehair at center, Nate Davis at right guard, and of course Darnell Wright at right tackle. Then you could have Leatherwood and Patrick as your interior backups, Larry Borum as your swing tackle, and then obviously maybe a Doug Kramer makes the roster or something like that, maybe a free agent or someone that gets cut by another team. But that is the news of the night. Tevin Jenkins, according to Brad Biggs again here, could miss up to 6 weeks, according to multiple sources for Biggs, with a leg injury. So we'll see where it goes from here. We'll see if any more news or updates drop tomorrow on this topic. Hopefully it's not this serious. Hopefully the information isn't good, but Brad Biggs is usually tapped in pretty tightly with these things. So, we'll see. Maybe it's one of those where it's like up to 6, but maybe it could be like 3 or 4. Maybe he's got a chance to play the opener. Who knows? As more information comes in, we will have you covered. That's why you need to subscribe to the channel here on Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody that joined us tonight, joined us on our watch party last night. That was a whole lot of fun. We will see you guys tomorrow with more news, hopefully an update here on Tevin Jenkins.